Hello and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. My name is Tim Elinsky. I'm the mayor of Cottonwood, and I'm excited today to have with me Jet Foley from Riot, old friend of mine. And we're going to discuss today her efforts to help out with some of the victims of Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
But before we do, let's talk about when we first met.
Oh my gosh, that was in Jerome.
It was in Jerome, yeah.
It's the very first restaurant I had, so that was 17, almost 18 years ago. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Time flies, right?
It does.
Yeah, it was the Red Rooster, right?
The Red Rooster. You were doing sign? No, you did something inside for me.
Yeah, I had some small...
Khalil did the sign.
Right.
This little suitcase. Yeah, but you ended up doing something in the Rooster. So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, so you've been a business owner here in the area for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, you had the Red Rooster, and then up in Jerome you had Mile High.
Mile High.
Well.
Yep, it's still there. Liz Gale still has it. She was a big contributor for Harvey. And then brought the Rooster down after Vlad wasn't using it anymore from Quince. And then Shane and I opened it, and then now I have the Riot.
Right. So the Red Rooster's still open.
Yep,
and now
Shane
you
still has it.
Now you have Riot.
Yes.
Yeah. And you are from Texas, right?
I am from Texas. I'm from Spring, Texas, North Houston.
Okay, North Houston. All right.
Yeah.
So you were born and raised in Texas, right?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No, I was born in Virginia. I had no choice.
Okay.
My mom took me. My mom took me to Texas, and I escaped as soon as I could in '93. But I was raised there.
Okay.
So I did go through, finished elementary, junior, and high school, and did lots of college classes, but never finished college.
Yeah. Because people that are from Texas are fiercely proud of Texas.
They're
right?
fiercely proud. I will defend Texans, but then I'll act embarrassed when I say I'm from Texas, so I don't understand it. I think that there's a mindset that I don't necessarily want to be associated. And you know, I tend to be a little more liberal leaning or socially conscious, and I don't think that's always affiliated. So, but if you mess with Texas, yeah, I'll show up and I'll fight.
That's right. That's good.
Go figure.
So tell us a little bit about Spring, Texas, then.
Spring is a suburb of the north side of Houston. It's near the Woodlands, which is a big golfing area. When I grew up, it was very rural, lots of property, forerunners, cow tipping. My first attempt at egging a car, my egg froze and I hit a police car. I mean, it was definitely, we were in the pastures. And now you just wouldn't know it to go there. It's so developed and spread out. It's my neighborhood doesn't even have a forest anymore. It's gone.
Wow.
That was Forest North was the name of the subdivision I grew up in.
Okay.
My little brother and I used to do dead pet patrol. I just couldn't handle seeing animals on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Dying. So we would grab our shovels and go through the neighborhood, and I would scrape up the animals and go and bury them and make little crosses. And and I dragged my little brother with me, and he loved it too. So yeah, I mean, it was a great place to grow up. Everyone knew where you lived.
Yeah.
Everyone, you know, my mom was a single mom, one of the only in our entire neighborhood, definitely in our congregation. So everyone knew everyone and knew their business. And if we were doing anything we weren't supposed to do, Mom was told.
People knew about it.
People knew.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was definitely small town living, but big city influences. So.
When did you leave Spring?
93.
93.
I moved here in September of 93.
Okay, so you went through, grade school, high school, everything?
Absolutely. I went to Sam Houston State. I took a lot of classes, took a lot of art classes, a lot of history classes. I was never really bright enough to realize I probably should have majored in art history. Finished and never went back to college. I've taken like foreign languages and stuff and art. I've continued, but I never finished my degree. Yeah.
So from Spring, Texas to
Phoenix.
To Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix for 8 years and then Jerome.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been in Arizona for a while.
Yeah.
And
but you made strong ties, obviously, in Texas.
Oh, absolutely. My whole family's still there. My mom, my nephew, sisters-in-law, brother, his babies. Yeah, and lots of friends. I mean, I'm still friends with people I've known since elementary school.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I guess we could say your early days of community service began there in Spring by scraping up dead animals and burying them, right? Yes. But you continued in Arizona when you came out, and you served on the Jerome Town Council, right?
Yes, I did.
You served hard time for how many years?
I served hard time. I did one. I did one term. It was 2 years, and I loved it. I highly recommend anybody who criticizes local government to actually do some time because it'll put a lot in perspective.
Yeah.
You get real information.
What inspired you to run for council?
Well, Jerome's small, and I was just told it was my turn.
Yeah.
And actually, when I got elected, everyone thought that they had elected my girlfriend at the time, Liz. So it was quite funny when they came to the council meeting and saw me. They thought, "Oh, we thought we voted for the other one." I'm like, "Well, here I am."
I'll try to do right by you.
Yeah. And then one of the council members kept calling me Liz, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, I did 2 years, and I was really involved with the library, kids program. We did start a youth center, which is not there anymore. It's very sad. And we were a commissioner form of government. I think we were one of the last cities in the state that was a commissioner form of government, meaning we didn't have a town manager, and we ran our departments. So I actually did my budgets for my programs.
Right. And the Kids Art Workshop is still very popular up there, right?
And that was long before me.
Okay.
And it was kind of inspired to get support through the city to make it a budget item.
Got it.
And to make it a budget item, we just went youth programming, and then we thought, well, we should have a youth center because we had such a high concentration of high school dropouts and very intelligent kids dropping out. There was no reason. So that was kind of the catalyst.
Yeah. Well, it's a very passionate community, Jerome is.
Yes, it is. I loved it. I've never been more proud of a populace. It was great to sit in that chair and to listen to people come to you and scream, yell, accuse, point, support, and definitely support. And they were very informed. I was very proud to serve on council.
Good. Any highlights from your experience on council? Anything that you're most proud of?
I'm most proud that people show up to those meetings, that they really show up, and they'll discuss. There's conversations and real involvement. That to me was something from the other side to go, wow, this is what you hear doesn't happen, but here these people are. And I know there's one circumstance of something trying to happen, and it was trying to be bypassed. They're trying to bypass Jerome by going to the supervisors, board of supervisors meetings, and then this particular entity would cancel the meeting at the last minute, thinking eventually the Jerome people would stop showing up. But no, they just came out in bigger numbers, and what we were protesting didn't happen. So that's where you see that people do make a difference, showing up, challenging, questioning, supporting, and educating is so important. So I'll never lose those lessons. And whenever I start to say something that's like a sweeping generalization, I try to remind myself of what it was like to sit there, and there's way more happening than just that issue. Legal and other entities that are involved, and all of it coming together to say what's legal and what can we do. Because you are bound by regulations and ordinances.
There's always a little more to the story.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, we have to take a quick break, but when we get back, I'm going to talk about your experience in helping out, again, with the folks at Hurricane Harvey that were affected by Hurricane Harvey. So this is Inside Cottonwood. We're going to take a quick break, and please come back and join us. Thanks.
You're gonna take good care of him, right?
Oh, like he was my own dog. Trust me.
Oh,
That's good.
not my baby!
Sorry.
You don't want your groomer distracted. No one wants you distracted behind the wheel. It only takes 1 second to change your life forever. Distracted driving involves anything that takes your focus off the road.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
To make a difference, we must stand together.
Stand with me. Be drug-free. Supporting our families and listening to our teens.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
We are all one. No one is immune.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Let's stand together for a healthier community.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I am your host, Mayor Tim Alinsky. With me today is Jet Foley, and we were just talking a little bit about her experience growing up in Spring, Texas, and her community involvement, which started out in Spring, Texas, burying unfortunate animals.
I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, giving them a cross, and then moving up into Jerome and serving on the town council up there. More recently, there was, as everyone is aware, of course, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston area, and you had a personal connection there.
Yes, one of my good friends from high school. Actually, we didn't go to school together, but we met on spring break, and him and his posse became like our posse, and it was a clique, and years and years and years we hung out. So watching him on Facebook doing the Addicts Reservoir was the area that I kind of focused on in Houston. His house had never flooded. He didn't have flood insurance on it. So I was watching them do the progression of, it's starting to flood in the back of our neighborhood, but it's never flooded here. We're feeling confident. And then it got less, and then they were out, and then their house flooded. Yeah. He went back the day after the flood, because the floodwaters came in, and then it just kept rising. The next day he went in and it talked about how surreal it was to see Coast Guard helicopters flying over the neighborhood, and he's waiting, and he's 6'4". He's wading in water that's chest high. Oh, wow. Yeah, he was looking for people. I mean, he's walking through looking for people, and then there's a helicopter above his head, and he's like, who are they waving at? And like, pointing at him, he's like, oh, me, no, I'm good. I'm good. But he said it was really surreal. And since then, I mean, they're still in a sort of shock. So they were my connection to go, oh my gosh, this is what's happening. I got to see real footage. I got to text and hear what was happening. Fortunately, my family was all fine. They're all fine. My brother's house came close, but again, fine. My high school was used as a shelter, military base. They were leaving from there. The neighborhoods around where I went to high school, a lot of destruction. Yeah.
So when you're watching this on TV, you're recognizing the landmarks and everything.
And friends were posting stuff all over Facebook, and it's heartbreaking. I mean, I'm such a, like, for my family, like, I'm the historian, like, I have the photos. I'm the one that likes to collect all of the family information, the genealogy. I could lose pretty much any possession except for my grandmother's pie cabinet and my photos. And I think about what people lost and what they weren't prepared to lose, especially because the areas were not, they're not flood zones. Yeah,
and was your friend prepared, or did he not move out, to the level he should have? Did he lose a lot?
They didn't believe. They did lose a lot. They got their couches up. So they got their couches up. There's a lot that you just can't get. And he said they made it out by the skin of their teeth. They really did not believe they would get flooded. Wow. And they've never flooded. And that's just the thing. You rely on that. I live on a creek, and I think, wow, it's never flooded. What happens when it does? And you see the water coming up, and he's like, it was passed up the driveway. By that point, he's a race car driver, so he has all of his race cars. His wife's car, they can't make it out. So his truck, the big truck, is what they jumped into, and that's what they left, and it was up to the door. And he said if we had waited any longer, we would have been doing, rooftop sitting. Or top of the truck sitting. Yeah. Wow. So it's just, I think it's that the possibilities there. How do you really prepare? I mean, I think they did what they could, but at the same time, it's just, you don't expect to get 5 feet of water in your house. Right.
So the Coast Guard ushered him away then?
Nope, home? He put himself in. He went back after they left, so he went to a higher ground and came in on his own. Okay. The Coast Guard was actually looking for people to get out. I see. In his neighborhood, it was, I believe, if I have this right, it's 1,900 homes. Only 300 didn't flood. Wow. And 3/4 of them did not have flood insurance. Wow. And my understanding is really all that really means for them is that, it's been declared a disaster area, and FEMA's now going to offer you a low interest loan. So you get to take out a loan on a property that's not worth anything, and that many homes, and that's just in one. Like, that's one development. That doesn't include all the other developments from this Addicts Reservoir that were affected. And that's the area that Bear Creek, Katy area of Houston is where I was driving around. Okay.
So meanwhile, you're watching all this back from home in Arizona, and when did you decide you needed to do something?
Mike and Monica were in, regulars at the bar, and Monica said, I just want to take my truck to Costco and fill it up and drive it to Houston. I just feel so terrible for these people. And I was like, yeah, like that's exactly how I'm feeling right this minute. Like I'm feeling helpless and hopeless, and I want to offer something. And I'm hiking the next morning. I went home, said something to my wife about it. I mean, just real off the cuff. Then I went hiking, and I was walking, and I'm like, I don't have a trailer, but a truck wouldn't be enough. Like, I need more. So maybe I could ask someone if they'd loan me a trailer. I'll put that on Facebook. 5 minutes I had a trailer. It was like, oh, okay.
Easier than you thought.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess this could happen. And then put it out for the idea of donations, and then just the stream started, and and that's just kind of how it went. And then so much came in, my truck tow capacity couldn't carry it. So then I went out to Facebook again, said anyone willing to loan me a truck too, and I got a truck in less than 5 minutes.
Wow.
I remember writing on Facebook, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "Well, I just put it on Facebook for thousands to see."
Right,
like,
right.
Yeah, I mean.
So borrowed truck and trailer, and you hit the road.
Hit the truck, yeah. Hit the road with capacity of donations.
Right.
I mean, the truck was filled, the trailer was filled, and people were wanting to do more and give more.
Sure. And you're a business owner, and you have a partner at home, and I mean you don't seem like you're bubbling with free time. You must have felt a real passion to help these folks.
Well, yes,
yeah.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. Even if I don't even necessarily believe that it's just the physical donation that necessarily helps. For my friends, it was the fact that all these strangers brought stuff to me to stick in a trailer to drive to them in Houston, and they don't even know them. And when I got cash, so all my cash went to Chuck and Kathy. And I said, "You give me 100% cash, I'm giving 100% of it to Chuck and Kathy." And even since then, I have another $542 that I have sitting at Riot that I need to send to them. So they've got a long road to get back to normalcy. I have no idea what that looks like for them.
Yeah.
But I definitely was very concerned, and I feel like what the gesture offered was hope and not feeling so alone, and that was truly the treasure of the trip for me too, interacting with people, letting them know how I got there. And they were blown away.
Yeah. Tell me about the people that connected with you to donate stuff. I mean, you really brought together, you and many others in our community brought together the community, and you must have interacted with a lot of strangers and people you've never met who wanted to just donate.
Tons of strangers. People, the list is so long, and there's some people I don't know. I've never even seen their faces, which just seems weird in a small town. You're like, where'd you come from? I'm trying to remember this one couple. They have a gas station. I want to say Payson, but that's probably wrong, but it's somewhere out there, and they have connections in the city, and they just brought a truckload of water and supplies. Mike and Monica truck, Holly and Jen Mayberry truckloads. Customers just walking in, handing $100 bills. Stephen from Stromboli's gave money. Mark, who bartends at 1012, he was in just last week. He's one of the $500 donation I still have to send. He just threw a $50 down, make sure our friends get this. Customers, I don't know how to be more grateful, and not just for me, not just for my friends, but just to be a part of a community that puts everything down and says this is more important, and we're going to give. This is the focus. This is the big picture stuff that we don't always get to. I was definitely moved to tears more than 10 times.
I'm sure.
And I see other people that just feel like, they just wanted to help, and they did. And they made a difference. Even, I'm loaded up. Cottonwood Journal did an article. And it came out the night before I was leaving, and I was already packed up, and I've got everything turned on. And I mean, literally car turned on, and I'm getting a call at Riot. My husband's on the way. We have clothes and shoes. And I was like, we're actually not accepting clothes or shoes. We've been told not to bring them. But then he gets there, and I see this big bag of pecans. I'm like, people have nothing, and they're not going to have a nutcracker for these pecans. But I mean, I already told them no clothes, no shoes, so I took the pecans. Did you see this on Facebook?
No,
this
I did not.
So I forget about the pecans, thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do with these things. But I give them to a friend. I give up these collections. I went to a Title I. Do you know about Title I schools?
Yeah.
Economically challenged areas is where I ended up with the rest of the load after I went through the neighborhoods. And she ended up getting the bag. And one of my best friends from ever. She's a teacher, kindergarten school teacher at this particular school. And she calls me on my way back. She goes, "Did you know that there was a bag of pecans?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, sorry. I meant to not put them in there, actually." She goes, "Well, funny enough, I heard a story about someone who rescued baby squirrels from Harvey. And she has 13 or 18 squirrels. I can't remember the number now. She goes, so I donated the pecans to them. Like, oh my God.
Perfect.
There was something for everyone.
Yeah,
I just love the idea that those little squirrels got, you know,
That's
Camp Verde pecans.
Yeah, good old Camp Verde pecans, finest. In fact, more
Yes.
finer than Texan.
Yes. Yes.
All right, well, let's take another quick break here, just a minute break. When we get back, we're going to talk with Jet Foley again about her experience driving into Texas to drop off the supplies that she collected. So come on back. Thanks.
You're gonna take good care of him, right?
Oh, like he was my own dog. Trust me. That's good.
Not my baby!
Sorry.
You don't want your groomer distracted. No one wants you distracted behind the wheel. It only takes 1 second to change your life forever. Distracted driving involves anything that takes your focus off the road.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
To make a difference, we must stand together.
Stand with me. Be drug-free. Supporting our families and listening to our teens.
Stand with me, be drug-free.
Stand with me, be drug-free.
We are all one. No one is immune.
Stand with me, be drug-free.
Let's stand together for a healthier community.
Stand with me, be drug-free.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. My name is Tim Mielinski, Mayor of Cottonwood. With me today is Jet Foley, and we're talking about her odyssey down to Texas, down to Houston, Texas. And where we left off was you had a borrowed truck and a borrowed trailer full of supplies, things given to you by the community, and you're heading down to Texas.
Yeah, my plan was I wanted to deal with people directly. I had a connection. And I had lots of connections. I had plan B, C, and D if I couldn't figure out where to put stuff through my childhood church, and my mom's still very involved. I actually never even got to the church. I never really got to any organized distribution center, which I was super proud that I didn't have to do a distribution center. Because of my connections, I felt like I could find ways to distribute on my own.
Right.
So I headed to my friend's neighborhood, gave him the cash. He took some supplies and said, you know, save it for people who are more in need. You just lost everything who's more in need. Okay. Yeah. So I just started going to his neighbors. Now, a lot of people don't know that I'm super shy, but I am. So I'm in this truck by myself in a neighborhood, and I've got all the supplies, and now he doesn't want much of it. I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. And I started driving through the neighborhood, and it was amazing to me how I could overcome my shyness based on the need and the sad conditions that everyone was in. The trash, you can't fathom the trash. I mean, it's 12, 15 feet high. It's so wide. The second day I went out, because I was started on a Friday. The Saturday, a lot of people had come in. A lot of churches were organizing firefighters with churches to get drywall ripped out and get people's appliances out of their home and start the drying out process. The second day, I would have to park, walk, talk to people, find my route, because I'm not real skilled at backing out with a trailer, but not skilled like no skills. Right. So I had to make sure that I was forward only. So I would find my way and then drive and open and
but
through.
The neighborhood's just a wasteland of just
it's
trash
just a
being
wasteland,
out.
trash. I don't know how people are going to get all that picked up. I mean, it doesn't feel like America. It's just such a weird thing to witness driving in. I mean, I cried instantly. It was, you walk into these streets and everything just piles. Everyone's entire lives are outside their homes, and everyone's just working on how to move forward, and they can't live in these spaces. And when I left him, I just kept listening to people's stories, hugging people, telling them why I was there. And hearing their stories of how many people, like grassroots, were coming through. One guy had come through with tools. Anybody need any tools? People coming through with food. And after going through this neighborhood, which I said had 1,900 homes, the first day, I'm driving out, and this woman's on a corner, and she set up provision stand.
Yeah.
She was not one of the 300 that didn't get flooded, but she was collecting donations and her and her husband had purchased to give away. So I said, let me stock you up. And as soon as I opened the back of my trailer, people just kept coming up to me, hugging me, grabbing stuff, helping them out. One woman, I just want paper plates and a mop. I'm like, honey, you could have this whole truck if you have this cutest old woman. I cried a lot. I had no makeup on by the end of the day. I sweated a lot. I was dripped in sweat. And then I went out the next day and did the same thing. Finishing at the Title I school. Some of the dog food went to a no-kill shelter. And then I had another friend who was a principal at another school that was going through, his school flooded, so he came and picked up the rest of the school supplies.
Okay.
So that's kind of how everything went out. But the devastation is massive, and it's totally not being covered properly on the news.
Oh.
It's like seeing something, like seeing the Grand Canyon, a picture of it, and then you see it in person.
Right.
You can't understand the magnitude. You just can't.
Yeah.
And it's bad.
So 2 days it took you to unload all your supplies?
And 2 days is all I had with my schedule.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And so then you turned around and drove
Came
back home?
Yeah. So I left on Wednesday, got there Thursday night, distributed Friday, Saturday, left on Sunday, was home Monday night, and at work on Tuesday. I actually didn't work. Austin covered for me on Tuesday, but
need a little break.
I have a great staff. I thank them so much for covering me for that. I mean, I'm gone for a weekend.
Yeah.
You know, that's big. And my wife, who has to take care of everything else, and you know, community that allowed me to go do it and trusted me. I mean, trust someone with money and all that supplies. That's a pretty big honor.
Yeah, well, that's a huge sacrifice for you too to do all that. Thank you very much on behalf of Cottonwood for what you did.
Wow, well, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It actually feels like not enough, and that's why I think it's super great that so many other people in the community. And that's where I became aware, because when I said this, I'm, you know, hearing from this guy that his wife works at Mount Hope, and they've already had a trailer send out, and then this guy Ken, a local guy, and from Cottonwood, he's sent out stuff. Acme Pizza was involved with something, and I don't know if that's with Ken.
Right. Yeah, I just have a short list. I think Ken Wood is the gentleman you're talking about now that owns A1. He was a huge A1 Supreme Moving, huge.
Multiple trailers. I think he might have even done 2 different
loads out.
Yeah.
Vinny's Pizza helped out a lot. Kids Against Hunger, La Femme Hair Salon, Crow Hair Salon, I think, is another. Sedona Paint Center gave a lot. Cottonwood Fire Department helped as well. Really, I mean, the whole community came out to help those down in Texas.
And it made a difference. I mean, I'm standing there like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Arizona. I mean, I'm from here, but I live in Arizona, and we wanted you guys to know that we are sad for what's happening here, and if we can give something, we wanted to do it, and this is how it comes out. And a lot of people were blown away.
I'm sure. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
it was. The human connection is powerful. It
is powerful. Yeah. It is, and I'm super glad that I got to see it firsthand. Yeah. I just wish I had solutions.
Right.
And building materials, that's what they're going to need next.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They don't need adult diapers, I can guarantee you that.
They turned those down, did they?
I dropped off enough adult diapers for a lifetime, I'm pretty sure. It's lots of diapers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your efforts, really. Yeah. You know, I really do appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have today.
There we go.
Yeah.
That went by fast.
Yeah, I said it would.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Again, this is my good friend, Jet Foley. Been friends for a while. Business owner and very community involved. And she went down to Houston to help those folks out down there, her hometown of Spring, Texas. So thanks again. This has been Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Tim Alinsky, Mayor of Cottonwood, and I hope you join us next time. Thanks.